Hello, Animal Messages with Julie. This week I'm with Jada and Hugo. Now they had a big numbing thing they do with the on each other's neck, and then they fell asleep. And I think I lost my blanket because one of them's on the blanket. So that's where I am today. There's just a there's a window behind me that I just pulled the curtains on. And after we talk to Farley, we're going to discuss this, a training collar. All right, because I've had this, one of the dogs, he gets to use this.
Like a shock collar.
Huh?
Not a shock collar, is it?
Yeah, but it has a noise option. So that's what I didn't know. I thought all shock collars, I'm like, oh no, right? And no, it's got this noise option in this particular brand. So we'll talk about it now then. Okay, so this particular brand right here, and I'm going to link a video down below. So, okay, first night with them, out in the yard on like 5 acres or something, right? So the white-tailed deer come through, 3 of them. Well, this little, like, what is he, 15-pound Boston Terrier is like going head to head with this large doe. I mean, like, she's like that with her front hoof, and I'm like, oh no. So I'm like pressing on, here's the sound button. Is it getting in there? Getting some light on it. There's a sound button, right? So I'm pressing the sound button and I'm thinking, oh, he must be really tough because it's here, not the shock part. And it doesn't seem to be working, right? Well, that's because there's a few safety things about this. So it wasn't really on. And it's happened twice where I've grabbed it and I'm like, he's too close to the road. And I'm like pressing the sound button and it's not doesn't seem to be working. So yeah, anyway, he's okay. And it turns out that doe comes through every night to eat the apples off the apple tree. So he's gone head to head, hoof to paw with her before. Okay, so this thing, first of all, okay, so yeah. These are called the shock collars, but they call them training collars. Isn't that nice terminology? Training collars.
Make it nicer.
Yeah, it's for training. But you can see, I'll get it closer here. You can see there's the buttons with the shock on it. And then one of these up here is for, I'm not sure, I think it's shock too, but there's one that's just for sound. Okay, so I'm going to press that one so we can hear it. Get it close to me. I'm pressing that one.
Okay, I can hear that.
Oh, hi Jada. Jada's coming because they hear it. They're like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Somebody did something wrong. What's happening? So yeah, that's not that, and their hearing is so much better than ours. So it's like alerts them like, hey, it kind of, if they're sniffing something and they're just tracking it right to the road, right? You're like, no, it'll just interfere with that tracking because it goes, and they're like, what? So that's what it does, that sound, where just, it's what I would
distract them for a second.
Exactly. And so
get them back on track.
It gets them back on track. So I wouldn't, for those that have already been trained, he's an 8-year-old dog. He's a good boy, but he has difficulty controlling his behavior. Like he likes to dominate. So he's always humping the other dog just to dominate. And the other dog he's like 15 pounds. She's like 55 pounds. I think.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, she's very patient with him because she lays down and he goes to hump her, and it's dominance. It's not sexual. And it's like, oh, can you not be dominant? Can you just be average dog? And he said to me, no. He's like, no, no.
Nope.
Exactly, no. I'm like, okay, so this is on him when he's outside then, because he gets, going on his own mindset. And they just use the sound thing. So, I thought that's interesting because we do think,
Yeah.
what are they doing? What's Farley doing?
They're roughhousing.
They're roughhousing. Oh, they're doing the numbing thing.
All that, and they're just crawling all over each other. They're playing tug of war.
The ones here did that and then they fell asleep. Like I said, one stole my blanket. So I'm like, okay, that needs to be washed now. Okay,
Yeah,
stinky butts on my blanket.
Yeah, they're fighting over toys right now.
So yeah, the noise option, awesome on here. And then these things on the video down below, there'll be linked to the video that I watched, because when it didn't seem to be working, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch a video on it. And it's called the NVK Training Collar. NVK. And I actually do like it because it's making it really hard to accidentally shock him. Also was
Okay.
making it hard to get the noise to come out of the collar too. But you don't want it too easy to use. So also on the video, these don't have it. You see how they're metal?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the video in the box, it comes with rubber covers, rubber caps for it.
Yeah. So,
It-
right.
And that would be put on to protect the skin. So very important. This was like on the video, this was a year ago, it was like $40 on
Okay.
Amazon. So, if you decide to get one for the sound, you want to put the rubbers on in case you accidentally,
Shocking.
right. And they also, for the smaller dog, I mean, this is loose on him. So on the video, they actually cut it and then took a lighter and sealed it
Okay.
instead of just leaving it lay down.
Yeah. Okay.
Because this is how it is. Like, yeah. So you'd want to have those, and is it flashing green? Okay, so this is the charger, right? So it comes in the adapter, right? And the thing, right?
Okay.
But many of them have, and many of them have this. And I left the damn door open by like 2 inches, and there are flies in now.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
There's a dairy farm nearby too. So it's like,
Okay.
okay, anyway. They want to be on the YouTube. The flies are like, we have something to say. So I go there. So it's that side, okay, which is very commonplace, whether you're charging headphones, whatever you're charging. Now, this isn't as commonplace. You see these?
Yeah.
Those are magnetic, and that's what charges here in between. I'm going to put it in between.
Okay.
That charges up. So both of them have to be charged up, but they come, but both of them come in the box. And okay, so now the tricks of this thing. Okay, so locker. All right. All right. So this is how it was. There was like no screen. And those of you that watch know my eyes aren't very good. So I'm pressing the little volume button or the little speaker, and nothing's happening. Like I said, when he was in the fight with the doe, nothing's happening. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? So then the next day, nothing was happening again. I'm like, what is that? Okay. So here's the thing. This antenna, it looks like an antenna. Okay, we'll call it an antenna, right? It twists. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's the on off.
Okay.
Ah, now we have power. And in the video, I think that's how you turn up volume. It's how you turn up the shock part of it too. The strength of the shock. So, all right. So I have it turned on. So then this morning he's getting too close to the road because he goes all the way around. and he shows up back in the garage. That's just his thing. Um, the little one, the 15-pound one, right? So I'm like, what the heck? Well, in the video, it's got this safety on it. I don't know if you can see it here. Can you
Okay.
see? It's got the safety, and it's got, like, in the black plastic, it's got a lock and an unlock picture, right? So up is locked,
Okay.
which
So
means
now it's like that.
exactly right. So now I'm like, see, I'm pressing the volume button, and we're not hearing anything.
Okay.
That was this morning. And I'm like, but it's on and it's charged. And that's so, like, if you put this in your pocket or it's in the truck or wherever, you don't accidentally shock your dog. So, okay. So
Safety
it's,
stick.
yeah, safety bit. Safe. So, I mean, and yeah, and it's kind of hard to pull it down. It is kind of, it really sticks, and it doesn't fit the thumb very well. And then it just went, it bleeped green. Okay, so now, yeah. And okay, be careful, people. When you're demonstrating or whatever, you don't want to be hitting the shock parts when it's close to you. I haven't done it yet, but knowing me, I'll probably do it at some point.
I was gonna ask you to try it, see how it feels.
Everybody should, really. If we're gonna do it to our dog, we should try it on a low thing to us. But it doesn't have the rubber nubs on it either, so it could hurt my skin, like have an lasting effect on the skin.
Well, I think it would be good to know how badly you're actually giving them a shot.
It would. I would, but I'm not gonna give this dog a shock. I'm just gonna use that's all I'm gonna use. And that actually works. And he's like, what? Okay. And he heads back for like 5 seconds, and then he gets distracted, and then he heads back again because he needs to come back when he hears that sound. And I could turn up the volume on that sound too.
I think that
So
would be good for like training for walking. When you're training your dog to walk, not to use the sound, but use the sound, get their attention whenever they get distracted.
exactly, because, and even like some dogs, because I'm the babysitter, right? I'm the dog sitter. So they play me, right? They get me up at 5 a.m. to go outside and listen to the birds, right? Or 4:30. And then I'm like, Roxy, at 5 a.m. And I don't know if people have their windows open, and I'm like, Roxy, don't do this to me. Roxy, come, and I'm in my pajamas, so I'm not going to start looking around the neighborhood for them. And so it would be great to have this and that. So I don't have to be out there going, Hugo, come at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, 5 a.m. And then I try and do it quietly. Hugo, come, get in here. Get in the house. Cause I'm like, yeah. So I really liked it. Like you said, for when you're outside or you're taking walks and they get off, they're in your own yard for, and I just was at another house, a dog that would break through the electric fence. So she would take the shock to get out. Now she wouldn't come back in. Her person would take off the collar, show it to her, and she still was like, not crossing that line. And he would have to carry her back across the line. But every time she had a chance or was chasing something, she would take the shock and get out.
Okay.
So we've got those situations that even when they're in these yards that have electric underground fences, it's still, and the deer, the animals can come in, raccoons, deer, all that can come in and go out. They're not wearing the collars, right?
Yeah.
So the electric fences, the wildlife can come in and get into it with your dog inside in your, when you're on these 5 acres or 10 acres or even 1 acre. So there's all kinds of uses for this if you're having issues with the wildlife or your dog getting into it with the wildlife, because you just call your dog back, because we would love for our dogs to be on a voice command. That's great. Is your dog on voice? a voice command. Oh yeah, that would be great if I was just like, Hugo, Roxy, and they just stopped what they were doing. I mean, there have been dogs like that I've experienced, but not every dog.
No.
No. So this is kind of like the voice command, but on steroids. Now, this also this also has longer prongs. So dogs like yours would need the longer prongs. The short-haired dogs get the shorter prongs.
Okay.
And your retrievers, the longer hairs get the longer prongs. So that would be the thing to, well, no, if you're not going to shock them, why bother switching that out? You know.
Okay.
Yep. And so I have already put this on its safety. It is locked. It is on, but it is locked because I don't want to accidentally do anything. And again, NVK Training Collar, because it's got a nice name. $40, I think it was.
Okay.
Okay. So Farley
Hey, Farley. You didn't
and his
call.
trip.
Farley. Maybe you want to be on video?
Hi, Farley Barley. Hi, how was your trip to Glacier National Park? You said Montana. Yeah, Montana. He said lots of food and lots of people. Really? Where were these people? Oh, and he showed me the inside of like a hotel, like that hallway that every
Okay.
hotel's got with all the doors. Yeah. And he said it didn't smell. Cassidy said it smells, but it didn't smell. No, Farley, it didn't smell. It was fine. She's too sensitive. She's too sensitive. Yeah, she's too sensitive. She doesn't know how to party. She just know how to party. Yeah, she wasn't feeling well. But then we made it better. Oh yeah, he's showing me like a McDonald's. He's like, Dad went into a store and got something. He called it a store. Got some meat. Okay. All right. So what else you want to tell me about your trip? Lots of people, lots of people. Anything else? Wildlife, anything? Smells? Yeah, smells, but lots of people. Okay. Sweeties, lots of people. So that's what he had to say. Lots of people at the hotels. Oh, were there lots of smells of people? No, lots of people. Oh, okay. All right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, lots of people. Maybe rest stops. I don't know. It's interesting to see what their takeaway is, how different their takeaway is, each of them on the same trip. So let me see what else. You were gonna, Cassidy she was kind of off a chicken.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the coffee trick.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to try that?
No, I don't drink coffee, so I don't have any here.
Got it. I'm just asking because otherwise I'll forget in a few weeks. But it'll be interesting to find out if it works.
Yeah, I could try something, a different kind of smell, the distractor. I'll see what I got. But she's been better this week.
She's been better?
Better this week, yeah. I bought some earlier this week. I don't know if I had told you last week, got some ground beef. So I ground up some ground beef and put that in her dish. And she was eating that. So, and then this week I went back to some chicken again. So I'm just mixing it up.
So she did get some chicken.
Taste. Yeah, so
So
she's getting some different tastes.
So she is eating chicken a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think she doesn't like the smell of her kibble because she'll eat around it. She'll eat around the kibble.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's never liked kibble. Even as a puppy, she never liked kibble. So.
She wants the real stuff. Hi, Cassidy, honey.
Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Come on, you guys, stop. Stop.
She's sensitive. Okay, lots of people
So
that
yeah, and I mean, and I started her off with higher quality food. If she's a puppy, that's probably my fault. Because I was giving her chicken, and I told you chicken and vegetables and fruit, and I would make like sweet potato French fries for them, and it took me a lot of work, and then I started figuring this is taking so long.
Uh-huh.
Then I started mixing kibble in there, and then she's like, "I'm not having none of that."
Well, yeah, it is a lower grade of food than people food.
Yeah.
There's human grade and animal grade food. They grade it differently because it's different. And
Right.
animal grade is lower than human grade,
Much
supposedly.
lower. It's much lower. But
Yeah, so
she doesn't even like the smell of it. So
we can't blame her.
I don't blame her either.
Yeah,
But
once you'd have sweet potato fries, who wants kibble? Not me.
I don't know.
Here, have some generic oatmeal. No,
So,
I'll have sweet potato fries
yeah.
and a
But that's when
hamburger.
I just had her. But then when I had two dogs, I was thinking, this is taking too long to make it. So I started mixing in half and half. And I wasn't sure if I was getting the right nutrients either, just make it on my own.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I wanted to make sure they got all the proper nutrients. So, but this guy right here, Farley, he'll eat anything I give him. He's not fussy. He don't care.
Like he said, he was like, oh, there weren't the smells. I don't know what she's talking about. Like
This
he's
stuff's
got,
good. He's like, this
yeah,
stuff's good.
oh, you gonna eat that? Well, I'll eat it.
That's him. That's him for sure.
He's like, you gonna finish drinking that? I'll drink it.
But I'm finding tricks to get Cassie to eat. Like I'll put some like chicken broth on her food to make her try and eat it. So and that works sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah. It bumps it up.
Yeah.
It bumps up the kibble.
Yeah.
And she needs those chicken fats that would be in the broth too.
Yeah.
With Farley, he'll eat anything. He's a good boy.
He is a good boy. Aren't you? Good boy? You a good boy?
So the hotels, so you stayed
Yeah.
at pet friendly hotels.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your favorite one or the most pet friendly?
Super 8 is really good.
Okay.
And they got really good breakfasts at Super 8 for people.
For people. So they're pet friendly. And is the whole chain or is it
The whole chain, I think, is pet friendly. I think the whole chain is everyone that I looked into said pet friendly.
And
I know their franchise are not all, it's not the Super 8s are franchise.
Yeah.
But all the ones that I went to were. But what I found is even when they're pet friendly, so you have to call them and let them know you're bringing dogs. So you can't just, okay, this place is pet friendly and then book a room.
Because they have a specific room they want you to be in or a specific building.
Right. So most of the Super 8s, I called, said, yeah, they said they were really cool with it. They said, yeah, just let us know when you get here that you have a dog. So, but there was this one hotel we went to that the website said pet friendly. And since all the other places I was calling said, yeah, just show up and just let us know you got a dog. Well, this one I didn't call them. And of course I get there and they said, you got to let us know ahead of time you're bringing the dog to make it, let us have a room. We don't know if we have a room for you. But they looked, they got a room for me. So I said, well, every place I've been to on this trip, I've been traveling for 10 days and everyone just said, just let them know when we got here. Then they said, well, we don't work that way. You got to let us know ahead of time. But they found a room for us. I was afraid that we might have been sleeping in the car that night.
Right. That sounds really rude.
So that's just advice for people out there. Just be for when they say it's pet friendly, make sure you call them and find out what their policy is. You know, that you can't just show up.
Now, because these are franchises, that's the thing with the phone number.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it just goes to a call center and they'll book
Yeah.
you a room. And
Yeah.
so how do you get the number of the
On their
Super 8
website, look at the website
for
for that particular hotel. For that particular hotel, you got
in
to
that city at that address?
At that address. It's hard to find their phone number sometimes, because I would have to
Yeah, some of them have
scan for
just
a phone number.
like this Motel 6, you know, by IKEA in Milwaukee, just disconnects their phone number. It just keeps looping around, you
Okay.
know. They did that 5 years ago. So something's on the website, but you can never get a person. You just keep looping, and it just is. And then all the phones in the room, you try to press down to the receptionist and it would do the same thing, loop around. And
Yeah.
my point of view is, well, they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But
So
yes.
yeah, you got to hunt for it, but you can find it. Or you
Okay.
got to go to, like I would go through Expedia,
Uh-huh.
you know, and Expedia would have pet friendly hotels and stuff. So, but then you can find it for that particular hotel.
So you go through Expedia, but then
Go
after
after you find out that they're pet friendly and you book it, then go to that hotel's phone number, call them and tell them I booked through Expedia, but I'm bringing the dog. And
okay,
then they'll
good.
tell you.
Yeah. Because a lot
They'll
of
tell
people
you.
use the apps, various
Yeah.
booking.com, Expedia, whatever. Hotels.com. Yeah,
Yeah.
that too. And this would be a reflection of the fact that so many are privately owned. So they say Super 8, but it's called a franchise, which means they've bought the right to use the name,
Yeah.
but it's privately owned. So it's not a corporation saying, this is how you will behave. This is what you will charge. This we're going to have our supervisors come by twice a year to make sure this is what you're doing. No, when it's a franchise, it's a little looser, people. And that's what a lot of hotels are, is franchise owned.
Yeah.
So that's what Patrick ran into, where someone owned it and the staff had limited pet rooms for pets. And the whole place doesn't have rooms for pets. It was like, okay, maybe I'm making this up, but maybe like 10 rooms, and then 150 are for people, but 10 are for pets. Because
Yeah.
there's a higher maintenance when pets come in. You're not going to have carpeting. You're going to have the vinyl flooring. You're going to have to treat for fleas and ticks in those rooms, because when they bring in a pet, you don't know if the pet has been treated. Or if they're bringing in fleas and ticks themselves. So there's more upkeep and different things you have to do for a pet room, and even the hallway going to the pet friendly room needs to be treated for fleas and ticks. Because all it takes is one animal to come through and they're on that animal and they start jumping off, and then they lay eggs.
Yeah.
In the warmer regions where it never freezes, they don't die off, the fleas.
Yeah.
So that's what's behind and if it was corporate owned, that'll be all taken care of. But franchise owned, like I says, it's looser. So the owners and the managers are deciding what they're going to do when they're going to do it, which is then may cause the shortage of the pet room. So they don't want you just showing up. At least that one hotel. And can you imagine the fear, right, Patrick? Like, am I going to have to sleep in my car with these 2 dogs?
And it's getting cold out.
And it's getting cold out. Where was it?
It's not summer. I mean, when I was in Montana, it was getting down to 40s at night.
That is not comfortable sleeping weather in the car. No, I've tried to do it at 40, 45 degrees, getting stuck out somewhere where they want, I don't know, $150 for a room. And I'm like, for 6 hours, I'm like, no, I'll sleep in the car. But you don't get much sleep in your car when it's 45 degrees out.
No, you got to start up the car every hour or so and warm it up again. And then
it's not a thing to do. So the takeaway is call ahead, get the phone number and call ahead, even after you book on the apps.
Yeah, make sure that what their policy is, that, you know, so they have a room for you.
So they have a room for you. They've got one set aside, because what the database is telling them is there's this person coming, Patrick's coming. Okay. And he's paid Expedia. That's all it tells them. It
Mhm.
doesn't really tell them, and he's bringing 2 Labradoodles.
No, it just says pet friendly.
Yeah. And just because, like we said, just because the hotel's pet friendly doesn't mean they have enough rooms for all the pets that show up.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
pet
exactly,
rooms for all the
exactly.
pets that show up that weekend. You know, and if
Yeah.
there's festivals, I've run into that where in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there's festivals from what, June all the
Oh,
way
yeah,
through to September.
yeah.
And I've just shown, you know, I go to my regular hotel on a Saturday night and they're like, I'm like, what? You know me. We see each other every Saturday night. The security guy knows me. He knows when I bring a different bag, you know? And they're just like, festivals. I'm like, what? You know? It's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I forgot. So there's sometimes happens in the cities where maybe there is something with dogs or horses. People will bring their dogs when there's something else with animals, right? And you don't know about it because you're just traveling through. You're just, you know, you didn't plan on, yeah. So hi Cassidy. Oh, she is a sweet dog.
There she
Yes,
is.
she is. Okay. Can you hear somebody snoring over here?
No, we can't hear it.
I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's the 55-pound or the 15-pound. They're on the other side of the sofa, but somebody's snoring heavy on my blanket. so I'm sleeping like under my scarf, I guess. No. It's like-
Is it loud? Loud snoring?
there's the sinus issue.
Yeah.
That's how it sounds. I'm glad though.
Put them in another room. Put them in another room to snore it away.
I know. Well, they're comfortable. That's great. They're comfortable. You know, they're comfortable with me enough to go to sleep.
Okay.
So even when they hear me talking in the house, which is good because I was a stranger a few days ago,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what you want. You want them to be relaxed so they don't freak out. Like if I get up at 2 a.m. to use the restroom, I don't want them freaking out. You know, 911, I'm down. No, they don't. They're really, yeah, they're really good. They're like, you help me. They come and they put their head on my lap and be like, you help me? Help you with what? Outside? Okay, outside. Yeah. And one's wearing the cooling bandana right now. She's itchy. She's very yeasty, like her fur. So she's itchy and she pulled it out of my suitcase. So I wet it and I put it on her and she seems to, she like it. Like it's cooling. So it's distracting her from her itchy body because it's just
Okay.
around the neck. It's just a bandana. Remember we had that in the summer. We put that
Yeah.
underwater. You squeeze, put it on her. And so, been doing that. Not that it's a treatment for itchy skin, but it kind of makes her feel better because her skin like is hot, like her tongue is hot. She's just hot, you know. She just so you know she has issues with irritated skin.
Okay.
You know, she's itchy and it's like hot. Ugh. But okay, so well, thank you. That was important information. So we've got the NVK Training Collar, but we like the noise option on it. And like I said, this one's got safety issues such as the turning it on, you have to twist that, and then the lock on the side. So it would be very difficult for somebody to come over and accidentally shock your dog, or even you to accidentally shock your dog. Right. So we got that. We got the hotels, call them. Farley will eat anything. Yep, I'm just going over my notes. Yep, Super 8. We're like, we got a recommendation for Super 8 if you're
Yeah.
traveling with dogs. Yep.
They were good.
and we're good. And we got flies in this house. So there's one. Mhm. Well, I thought, Patrick, you were going to say something.
Oh, no, I wasn't.
Okay. So now, Farley, now you can play. Okay. Bye, everybody. See you next week.